Apex Insider is made possible by the support of Global Eagle. Connect, entertain, empower with innovation from Global Eagle. Hi everybody, welcome to this edition of Apex Insider, the web series bringing you insight and opinion from thought leaders in the passenger experience industry. Today we're going to be talking about airline catering and special meals on board, and here to discuss that with us today is Marc Warde. Hi Marc, welcome.
Hey.
Marc is a restaurateur. He owns a restaurant called Niche in London, which was the first 100% gluten-free.
In London, yeah.
Yeah. You also own a special meals manufacturing business, and you consult with airlines and airline catering companies.
I do indeed.
Sounds like you're rather busy.
I'm a busy boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so how did you come to get involved in the business of manufacturing special meals and consulting with airlines?
I used to own a concession catering company, which I sold in 2012. Where we were catering for some private jets, and then when I sold the business, I went and joined Alpha LSG Sky Chefs to open their new premium kitchen in Heston in Heathrow, and became the culinary director for the UK, and also then did some work for LSG in Germany. And is that sort of still the model that you're working with today, or has it evolved or changed since then? I did that for 2 years full time, then I became a consultant for them, and now I am able to consult for other companies, airlines, manufacturers, and other people working in the airline or travel industry.
Okay, so throughout this entire process, was it always a focus on special meals, or have you done sort of the whole gamut?
No, initially it was all airlines, predominantly looking at first in business, but also economy, and then special meals is quite a small part of that, although now my business is almost entirely focused on special meals.
All right, and what is the story behind that shift?
Well, I was diagnosed as celiac myself, so it's like personal interest, I guess, and I feel quite strongly that there's not that much for us celiacs on airlines. I mean, there is a gluten-free option, but it's not great, generally speaking, and saw it as my mission to try and move things along in that area. And when I had my restaurant business, which is 100% gluten-free, and then my manufacturing business, which has grown exponentially. We supply ready meals throughout Europe, and we now supply airlines as well with fully registered, fully accredited, gluten-free, dairy-free, and other special meals that exist.
Okay, so working with the airlines and the catering industry, and then of course in your restaurant here in London, what have you seen in terms of increase in demand for gluten-free and other types of free-from special meals?
Well, when we set up as a gluten-free restaurant, I expected that's the main thing we'd be doing, but actually what people are asking for is much more detail. We're asking for low FODMAP diet, which is where there's fewer allergens and few things that produce acid in the stomach.
Okay.
I think the airline industry used to call something similar a bland meal.
Right.
Doesn't sound particularly appetizing. And then we also get dairy-free or soy-free. There's lots and lots of special requirements, and we kind of seem to attract people who not only are gluten-free, but looking for other free-from experiences. Veganism and vegetarianism are massive, and we've had to increase our offer in those areas by about 50%.
And is it all people developing allergies? Is it all necessity, or is people just looking for alternative ways to live and to consume food?
I think people generally feel healthier eating gluten-free because it's less carby, and people just don't want to have that bloating. I think that as we learn more about food and what it does to the body and how it makes us feel, people want to eat healthily, more healthily, and live longer. And I think that's what it's about, really. People do often get on the trend bandwagon, but actually when you actually physically feel better from eating free from, it makes a difference to your life. It certainly has to me.
So airlines, I think, not all of them, but a lot of them are struggling to provide the quality and the variety and the amount, the different variety of special meals that people are looking for. So what would you say, I guess, is maybe flawed in the current catering system, the way that it's working, that we're not able to sort of provide that range to people?
I think the airline industry fears most of all litigation around that subject. So they fear most being sued by somebody who accidentally gets sick from. And that, I think, prevents them sticking their neck out and actually certifying a meal. So most, or nearly all, in fact, airlines carry a caveat saying may contain. So whatever your free-from meal is, it will say at the bottom somewhere, some little corner, may contain gluten or may contain dairy, or so it's not really guaranteeing anything. And that's not because it does, it's more about the process. They somewhere in the logistics chain, they can't guarantee it or won't. And I think particularly in the case of the US, they're very afraid of litigation and someone suing them because they got glutened or they got, and it happens quite a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they have this little reference at the bottom. So offering a service that does certify, you get what you're paying for in terms of a fully certified meal that won't contain what you don't want it to contain, is a good offer.
So maybe outsourcing to an operation like yours or something similar is kind of the safer bet for the airline, because they can pass the buck if something does happen. Hey, it wasn't us, it was our supplier, sort of thing.
Absolutely. It's making sure that chain isn't broken. So the person who unseals that meal is the passenger and nobody else.
Right.
I think that's the main thing they need to work on. I think some airlines do it much better than others, and they really put some love and focus into making sure that the free-from meals are better, and in particular the vegetarian meals. The gone are the days where they can give you a plate of ropey pasta with a tomato sauce, and that's your vegetarian offer done. Yeah. People want a bit more than that nowadays. People's expectations are much higher. Half the world eats vegetarian nowadays, so it's a massive thing.
Okay, you did mention an airline that you thought was actually executing on special meals and sort of options for people with different dietary requirements really well.
I think Singapore do a really good job. I've seen them working personally, really hard on actually making their meals tasty. They want to have mass appeal, so it shouldn't, just because it's a gluten-free meal doesn't mean it can't appeal to everybody if it's done well. I think that's where often the issues lie, in that they try to just focus on it being gluten-free rather than being delicious, flavoursome, current, seasonal, all of those things, and that everyone would therefore enjoy it.
All right. Another issue, in addition to like sort of special meals when it comes to airline catering, is waste, sustainability, food waste. What is going on in this part of the industry around food waste, and are we improving? What can we be doing, I guess, to be more responsible in that way?
I think the main thing is to reduce packaging, particularly in the economy section of the plane where everything is indisposable. The main problem for me is the waste that comes off. More than half the food that goes on comes off the plane, because if you're a passenger in first or business and you're paying quite a lot of money for your flight, you want to have the choices that you were offered. There would be, in my opinion, a better way to do it, which would be pre-order. Pre-order is, in my opinion, the future of ordering on planes. A, to reduce the weight and the emissions from the aircraft, but also the passenger will then is guaranteed to get what they've ordered in the first place. I think that the waste that comes off is almost criminal, if I'm honest. I have seen firsthand when they've unloaded some of the larger A380s, and it is frightening. I know they burn it, and it's considered contaminated because it's coming off a plane, and they burn it to make energy, but that's really not a great solution. So the solution for me would be to introduce pre-order for all classes and to reduce the packaging, so it's absolute minimum, or use rotable ware in economy, so get rid of all packaging.
Right.
It's possible, but will anybody take that leap of faith?
It's a bit more of a cost center when you begin doing that in economy, isn't it?
It is, and also where you're flying into different countries where they just don't have facilities like the big dishwashers and everything else to start doing that, and it increases cost. Yeah. So there's a cost to actually being green, often greater than the cost of just chucking it all in the bin.
Yeah. All right, let's look at future trends. Obviously, with your restaurant keeping up to date on what's going on, you've probably got your finger on the pulse of a lot of the upcoming food trends, especially in special meals. Can you let us know what you think might be coming down the pipe?
I think that people coming away from eating meat, not because they're necessarily vegan or vegetarian. They see it part of a healthy lifestyle. You've seen lots of new proteins going on the market, which are often sold in the meat aisle, which are lab-based proteins that emulate meat. I think that's going to grow and grow and grow because people want to, well, I guess, slaughter less animals, and there's a moral thing to that. I think that we have to, the world has to look at other ways of eating, because there simply isn't enough space on Earth for the growing population to have enough cows and pigs and chickens and everything else. So we have to look at eating in different ways, and I think education comes from when we're young, so people are starting to eat differently and being taught differently, that you'd have to eat meat every single day. In certain cultures, particularly Brits, we were brought up to believe every meal has meat, carbohydrate, and a bit of veg, and it just shouldn't be that way.
Just a little bit of veg.
A little bit of veg, just a tiny bit. Yeah. Not particularly colourful either. Usually boiled to death.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us, Marc. For the people watching who might want to check out your restaurant, or maybe read some of the articles and things like that you've done on the topic of special meals, where can they find you online?
They can go to onboardhospitality.com, where lots of the articles that I've written over the last 4 years are on, and also my own website, which is www.nichefoodanddrink.com.
All right, great. And for those of you watching, also don't forget to subscribe to the Apex YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our video interviews. And you can visit www.apex.aero to learn more about the Airline Passenger Experience Association, or read up on all the latest passenger experience news. Thank you so much for watching, and for Apex Insider, I'm Marianne Simpson.